Welcome back to the show, everybody. Oh my, oh my, oh my. We're going to talk about the WEF and the Davos agenda. You're going to want every single bit of it. And how about this? Ripple in the UK Treasury. How about Brooks Entwistle from Ripple? We got him too. How about the BIS Ripple connection in Africa? How about somebody roll that beautiful intro?
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $994 billion market cap for crypto. We're off by 3.3%, currently falling like a manhole cover from the sky. Bitcoin, 20,700 plus. Ethereum, 1,500 plus. Tether market cap, 66.4 billion. They say XRP is 38 cents. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. If you haven't done it, click the link for Uphold. It's home of the altcoins, baby. Why Uphold is different? Because it's anything to anything. And they are transparent. They are highly regulated. And let me tell you something else too. They got staking at 9.5%, I believe it is. And they got HBAR, up to 30 assets that you can do staking on. You want the best deal? Click the link to my sponsor underneath the video. Let's get started. Lots to go over. Elon Musk says here, WEF is increasingly becoming an unelected world government that people never asked for and don't want. Hello. Well said, Elon. And here they're speaking about at the conference about the metal inventories for copper, zinc, lithium, and others, and how they're at critical stages. And in order to become net zero on the globe by 2050, they need to hit a certain watermark by 2030. Take a quick listen to this clip. This is the kind of conversations that are going on there, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we want to reach net zero by 2050, you know, the view is that we need to have 2/3 of energy from renewable sources by 2030. Okay. In that scenario, and I'm excluding electrical vehicles, we expect that we need to have probably 20% increase in production per annum to meet those demands by 2030 of copper, for example. And we're also seeing the same issues in zinc and aluminium because, you know, you require these metals to build wind farms, to build the infrastructure for these metals. The problem we have now is that the metal inventories over the past few years have been drawn down. We haven't had expansion in production. And we are now, quite frankly, at fairly critical stages with respect to metal inventories.
And that's just on the metal aspect of where they're trying to get to. But listen to this bleak forecast here for the geopolitical situation. Take a listen to this.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warning that we are facing a global economic slowdown here at the World Economic Forum earlier today. Watch.
And we are looking into the eye of a Category 5 hurricane. Our world,
the United Nations Secretary General,
is plagued by a perfect storm on a number of fronts. Start with the short term, a global economic crisis. The outlook, as we all know, is bleak. Many parts of the world face recession, and the entire world faces a slowdown. And we see deepening inequalities and the rapidly unfolding cost of living crisis affecting women and girls the most. Supply chain disruptions and an energy crunch, soaring prices.
This is the kind of talk that's going on here, and they essentially just drill down on exactly what he said. There's nothing really else to glean from the clip. I'm going to keep moving. But this shows progress to me. Remember, I remind you that the UK has said in the coming weeks they are going to release a British pound stablecoin, digital stablecoin. Now, look at this. Susan Friedman, head of policy for Ripple, who is also on the digital pound foundation, the digital euro association. And we know that Ripple is also on the digital dollar project, the major currencies of the G7. Take a listen.
but that's the nature of those isn't purely speculative. It's as an investment thesis.
Susan.
Say the FCA in its consultations recognized that the fact that individuals may speculate in tokens, in unbacked crypto assets, does not detract from the reason for which they were created, and its taxonomy turns on an analysis of, are they an exchange token, are they a utility token, are they a security token. Ripple uses an unbacked crypto asset for cross-border transfers. XRP is specifically designed to help facilitate the transfer of fiat to fiat, stablecoin to stablecoin, etc. And I think as we look at regulations, certainly there needs to be a recognition, and I think everyone has it, that there is speculation. Consumers need to be protected, but there needs to be nuance built in to acknowledge the fact that the tokens, many of these tokens are built, as Tim noted, for specific projects, have specific value propositions, and that is what should be regulated, the business and the risk attached to it.
There you have that. Susan Friedman, the head of policy for Ripple at the Treasury Committee in the UK, letting them all know that, yeah, I mean, you know, XRP is absolutely something you could use. It's not like the rest of this crypto crap, right? Brooks Entwistle letting us know what's going on at the World Economic Forum with CoinDesk. Take a listen to this.
We're building outside the U.S. very rapidly, given the opportunities we see. But we're not going to go kind of off-piste and try to chase shiny things this year. There's no room or time for that with this kind of environment.
In terms of, you mentioned CBDCs is on your radar. In what regard, how are you helping out with that?
Absolutely. We have an interesting approach. We realize we're not going to solve that problem for every single central bank around the world. We're very targeted. We found great interest in some of the smaller central banks around the world that are looking for a strategy, looking for a partner, looking for a technology, a side blockchain, ideas about how to go about this. So we had our first MOU signed with the Kingdom of Bhutan in my neck of the woods back in Asia. Palau is an example, but we're in conversations with dozens of central banks around the world trying to figure out the best way to help them across this goal.
They want to use XRP or Ripple Labs or to develop it?
They want to use technologies that will help them help their own citizens. And so we don't believe there's any one solution for all these central banks in this technology across the world. There's places we can play. There may be a side chain to the XRP ledger. We may help in the interoperability across this, but it's going to be different at every single central bank.
And what a point that is to make, because that leads us into what we talked about in the teaser in the front of this video. The BIS and Ripple connection with Africa. We know from James Wallace that multi-bridge, the mBridge projects being studied, one of which is the XRP ledger and the XRP token. James Wallace has told us that before. We've played it here many times on the channel. BIS releases a paper, How Could Multilateral Platforms, Cross-Border Payments Systems that Operate in Different Jurisdictions Improve Cross-Border Payments? Well, the BIS takes a look at it. I'm going to run very quickly through this for us. This is January, just came out from the BIS. Let me run you now to page 4 very quickly here. They're studying many things, but two of the things they're focusing on is a growth strategy and then a greenfield strategy is what they're calling here. And multilateral platform is a payment system for cross-border payments that is multi-jurisdictional by design. We know that Ripple has private ledgers for central banks. We know that through side chains, this is a great really overview macro description without saying that it's the XRP ledger. And I'm sure they're testing other things as well. But again, looking at the greenfield approach and the growth approach, you see a huge description through this document of what really feels like the XRP ledger and the private ledger for central banks. So I'm going to move quickly, very quickly right now to the next thing here I want to show you. And the whole document is fire. You can totally see that they're starting to narrow in that some kind of mBridge solution is the way that the world needs to go for the central banking payments world and the payment system. Here you can see they show regional versus global. They show you here, obviously, where was the the one thing I want to show you, the multilateral platforms, right? Which we're looking right here, multi-currency common platform on the global level. They show CLS. I want to remind you very quickly, CLS Bank International is systemically important. We talk about that all the time. Dodd-Frank had an architect. One of those architects of Dodd-Frank was a guy named Michael S. Barr, who designed what financial market utilities and systemically important designations are. Michael S. Barr became a Ripple advisor after leaving the Treasury after that time, and is now the vice president of the Federal Board of Governors architecting stablecoin legislation for the United States of America. We see these connections, but it gets better. Let me move forward here. If I just come down to this really quickly here, there's only 3 existing global platforms. The only 3 existing global platforms are all multi-currency common platforms. These include CLS, as we mentioned, which settles wholesale FX trades, and 2 global 4-party card schemes, MasterCard and Visa, which process cross-border and domestic payments primarily for the retail segment. CLS does not settle cross-border payments for goods and services, but only the underlying payment instructions resulting from the trading of various FX products. Visa and MasterCard have for decades been 2 of the most important payment arrangements in retail cross-border segment, processing large volumes of payments. You get the drill, right? Well, I do want to remind you that Visa acquired Ripple Partner Currency Cloud for $925 million in 21. But what I also want to show you here is how they cite down in here, working with these multilateral platforms, mBridge, right here. What do we see? They analyzed other arrangements which closely related to but do not qualify as multilateral platforms. Project Nexus by BIS Innovation Hub Singapore Center is a global scale project that proposes linking the existing FPS in multiple jurisdictions using APIs. It goes on to say the stocktake also analyzed MFS Africa. Really? Well, isn't that interesting? If we understand that James Wallace has explained to us, the head of central bank engagement, that mBridge absolutely is considered one of those models being considered in mBridge is the XRP ledger and XRP token, according to him, and that is accurate. And we understand that MFS Africa is also in this BIS connection here of multilateral mBridge projects. Well, that gets quite interesting, doesn't it? MFS Africa is a mobile gateway company, and it is big, ladies and gentlemen. It is connected to a lot, 30 different nations aligned with MFS Africa. And what's fun about that is that November 15, 2022, just a few months ago, Ripple shared with us that Ripple expands into Africa, partnering with MFS Africa to bring the benefits of crypto-enabled payments to the entire continent. Come on in. The more that Charles delves into the SBF FTX implosion and hear how he met with the SEC not once but twice, it's hard not to realize that the SEC really botched its regulatory agenda going after Ripple over unregistered XRP when serious issues of potential fraud always resided with the exchanges. This is really fascinating to see that turn of events like that. I would like to add to Charles's point that he's making that not only did the SEC meet with them and miss it, the SEC awarded them a broker-dealer's license, which is the holy grail in crypto. Sounds crooked to me. James K. Filan fills us in. He says the SEC has filed opposition to the third party's A motion to redact all references to third party A as an entity to the proposed redactions by third party A and Ripple to the names of certain public crypto trading platforms. We'll keep you posted if there's any changes. And then there's this. Ripple opposes the motion by investment banker Declarant which seeks to shield from public view his name, position, and employer because he's voluntarily submitted a declaration in support of the SEC summary judgment. He probably should have thought about that before doing so. Well, listen, we're potentially, if James K. Filan's got this thing right, then on or before March 23, and it could change, we will see a complete ruling on all things in the SEC versus Ripple. If that holds true, we are inside of 3 months, ladies and gentlemen. And if we get a favorable ruling, and I would not see why we wouldn't, is it so hard to believe when people are telling us to look at charts like this that we could see a repeat of what 27 looked like in the fractal that could take us to plus $20? One technical analyst we cover here as Dark Defender as well, Crypto Bull, and we've even seen Egg Rag Crypto. Whatever they're seeing on the charts, all of them are reading the tea leaves the same, calling for a plus $20 XRP in the near term. Crypto Bull says this year. I say I don't have a problem with it, but it's not financial advice from him, me, or anyone else. It's just our digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.